Knowing what you want when traveling to a new country is important. I believe that the biggest gift we can give ourselves as travelers is having a purpose set when we travel to a new country, a new city, a new state. And I believe that knowing what not to do in those places is also valuable, especially when those places have a different language, a different culture, a different value set, and a different government than our own. In this video, I apply what I learned in Peru after living there for 3 months, and I share what I would tell a friend in terms of what not to do in Peru. As they say in theater, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, number 1, don't flush the toilet paper. There's a basket right next to the toilet for a reason. And it's because the sewage system in a lot of South America and Central America as a whole isn't built to flush the toilet paper. Even if a business or an apartment complex or a hotel is like, oh yeah, our system's totally good with that, you can flush the toilet paper, I would still steer away to throwing it in the trash. That's what it's there for. Because although it might get out of the building okay, once it gets into the public sewage system, it might cause even bigger problems. So don't flush the toilet paper. Number 2, don't assume people speak English. There was a study done in 2015 that said 8% of people in Peru speak English. Now, of those 8%, 50% of the people were from Lima. And of that 8%, almost 1/3 of them were under 25 years old. So the biggest population there that's gonna speak English is in the city, and younger people, typically highly educated younger people in those areas, or in tourist-heavy jobs. So when I was in Lima, I was in Barranco, which is right next to Miraflores. That was the 2 places I spent most of my time while I was there. The English that I encountered was mostly in cafes in heavy tourist areas or restaurants in heavy tourist areas. Tourist attractions, I didn't do a whole lot while I was there, but I spoke to a few people in that realm while I was there who spoke English. Outside of that, English is pretty sparse. And the second place that I went to in Cusco is the same way. Tourist heavy areas will have a lot of English, but if you go to a mom and pop shop or a small place for lunch or local stores, the chances that they're gonna speak English is pretty low. There's Google Translate that you can download the English and the Spanish version or the Spanish languages of themselves in the app. So while you're out and about, you don't have service, you can still translate. I 100% would recommend you doing that before you leave your country so you have it once you get there, especially if you don't speak any Spanish. The other tip I would have for you is if you don't speak any Spanish, learn a few phrases, a few things. One, it shows respect to the people in that country that you put some effort into this. And 2, it gives you like a sense of pride while you're there, that you're conversing a little bit, even if it's just a tiny bit like hello, with a local person, that you're not always working through another person, a translator or an app, right? Now, if you have a few weeks or even months before you go out there, I would strongly recommend studying it just a little every single day. And a really good way to do that is an app called Fluent Forever. That's been my favorite app above Babbel and Duolingo. I'll keep it short by saying they have an incredible system to help you remember things that matter, the sounds of the words that you will use in conversation while you're there. And if you use that an hour a day for a week, you'll be surprised at how much more you know than at the beginning of the week. If you do it for a month, you would get around while you're in Peru, to be honest. Like, where's the bathroom? Where's the toilet? Where's the coffee shop? You would be able to say those things. So I'll drop that in the description so you can check it out and see what the system is all about. But if you have a little bit of time to learn, I'd recommend it. Number 3, this tip will probably make every don't video I ever make. And it's don't be afraid, but don't be stupid. If you're going into a completely foreign place, if you've never been to South America, if you've never been to Central America, don't be afraid of these places, but be aware, heighten your senses, be aware of your feeling when you're interacting in financial transactions and in physically moving transactions when you're going places. If you don't speak any Spanish, using Uber is a really good way to get around. Taxis, depending on where you are in the cities, are very safe, or they can be a little bit dangerous. Like, for example, when you're around the airport, I wouldn't recommend taking just a random taxi off the street, especially if you don't know Spanish. Take one from the airport or take an Uber to your place. But once you get to Barranco, Miraflores, the taxis around there, if you speak a little bit of Spanish, are much safer. Once you get out to Cusco, you can take those taxis all you want. I had no problems. I wasn't afraid at all in my time in Cusco. Danger really lies in your awareness. If you do something stupid that puts you into a dangerous situation or position, that's where you get in trouble. Number 4, don't rush your meals. One thing that I love about South American culture and Central American, to kind of include them, is this focus on the social aspect around meals. I went to Brazil a few years ago and I loved the way that they brought family back together for lunch, where they really focused on the conversations, phones were put down, and they were locked into one another around food. And that's something that we don't get a lot, especially here in the US, when you have fast casual or you're out at work and you just grab a bite to eat on the way back to work. I mean, they're just different cultures, but this is something that I really love about being in South America. Number 5, don't feel bad to take a break. While you're down there and you're digesting so much foreign language, foreign custom, foreign culture, it may be a lot and you might find your energy draining. Don't be afraid to step back and say, whoa, I need a day. I hate myself. Watch US English television or listen to some music or whatever it is. Call friends and family and just relax in your room. That's okay. If you need to take a step back, digest, and not feel like you're so immersed for a day, don't be afraid to take a break. Number 6, don't miss the fruit. I love and I miss South American fruit, the pineapple, the maracuya, which is passion fruit, which is huge in Peru, the granadilla, which I like a little bit more than the passion fruit. It's almost the same fruit, but it's a little sweeter. The fresh strawberries, I love it. And the fruit juices are some of the best you'll get anywhere in the world. They're completely fresh, whole, blended, juiced right in front of you. Please, I'm begging you, don't miss the fresh juice and fruits in Peru. Number 7, don't be surprised by the stray dogs. It's a part of the culture down there, especially in Cusco, that people have dogs. It's their dog, but the dog doesn't come inside. The dog lives on the mat outside and it roams the streets and then comes back. Not all the dogs in the streets are completely stray, but a lot of them are, and that's just something you should be aware of. Don't be surprised by the stray dogs. Number 8, don't miss the Lima coast. The big rock wall is so unique. I've seen literally no other coastline in the world that has a sheer rock face and then 100 yards of dirt and sand and road before you get to the ocean. It's so unique. A lot of people will say there's not much to see in Lima, but if you're there, I would say take a day at least. Go out to Miraflores, go out to Barranco, and just walk the coastline, enjoy it, see the surfers, and check out the coast.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to find Peru.
I believe that's Western Africa.
Oh.
Instead of looking at this book, have you seen Ryan's travel maps?
Ryan's whose? Hold on, where is that?
This is South America. You were looking at Western Africa. Big difference, buddy.
Got it, okay.
Whole ocean in between there.
Got it.
So for Peru, there's 101 different locations for all types of things. Just really good recommendations for things to do in Peru.
Ah, are those personal recommendations on each one?
Absolutely, with a description on what you can do there and what you might see.
Oh, I'm gonna take this, and in the phone too. Number 9, don't be afraid of the people. People in South America and the culture as a whole is one of the most welcoming that I've seen anywhere in the world, and this includes Peru. If you jump into a conversation and you don't know much Spanish, they will appreciate the fact that you're trying to communicate and that you are there as a tourist. They, as a whole, love people. Peruvian culture was very welcoming and loving. Now I will kind of piggyback on one from earlier, and it's don't be afraid, but don't be stupid. Now when you get into these situations, just be aware that you are a foreigner and you probably look like a foreigner, you sound like a foreigner. So if somebody wants to take advantage of you, they're gonna see that as a potential place to do that. And you just have to be aware of that. It's not that everyone is a threat, but if somebody is a threat, you just need to be aware of who you are in the situation where you're at. Number 10, don't miss the Andes Mountains. They are gorgeous, absolutely stunning. Cusco, where I was for 6 weeks, is a mountain city of 500,000 people at 11,000 feet in altitude. And I'm from Denver, which is just over a mile high. It's like 5,200 feet or whatever it is. That's pretty high, but 11,000 feet is more than double what Denver sits at. And that's mind blowing. The Andes Mountains as a whole are gorgeous from a scenery standpoint and culturally. They hold a lot of Incan culture there, and you can learn so much from those people, especially about Pachamama, which is Mother Earth. Number 11. Don't travel to remote places without knowing Spanish or at least having a guide with you. This is a little bit for your safety, but it's mostly for the experience, because I think when you go to a place, having communication with the locals in some facet is a huge portion of that overall experience. I've been to places where I went to a remote place and I couldn't really speak to anybody, and it makes me feel almost ostracized because I can't interact, I can't mingle, I can't order a food item and actually speak to that person. I just point, or I point in the glass thing. And I don't enjoy that experience nearly as much. But if you can communicate with the people, or if you don't speak the language, you have a guide with you who can communicate with them, tell your story, express your feelings, and you can in turn hear their feelings and emotions, that will add so much to your trip. Number 12, don't hire huge. And what I mean by this is when you're booking a big trip, or you're booking even just a tour of a city, the bigger you hire, typically in terms of travel agency, like the travel agency is big, the less it helps the local people and the less of a chance that the people who are working for that agency are being paid properly. Now, that's not always the case, but I've learned a lot about travel agencies in general, and if you hire a big travel agency, they're probably not even based in that country. They're based in another country. They third party out these people, and then they just contract like tour guides and people to intertwine in the mix. A little bit more convenient, if I'm being honest, but it doesn't benefit that place as much as it would if you went there, you found a local guide, you connected with people on YouTube or on social media who have been before you and have a guide's connection, and then you go through that person, because that is a direct contact. You go right through them. You're probably gonna get a more local experience unless the travel agency is really good. Plus, you're gonna benefit the guide and the local economy as a whole a lot more. Now, having said that, in Peru, one of the biggest travels is Machu Picchu, of course. Now, there are a few different hikes that you can do to get there. There's the Inca Trail, there's the Salcantay Trail, or you can take the train up to the bus. You don't even actually have to hike it all to get to Machu Picchu anymore. So I did the train to the hike once, and then I did the Salcantay trek all the way around to Machu Picchu. And I met some really cool guides along the way who speak English and Spanish and Quechua, which is the Incan language, and they were awesome. And their prices are pretty good. They're not the cheapest, but they provide a better experience. And I would honestly, as a budget traveler, I would prefer that. I'd put like, if this is the cheapest, they're like right here, and this is everybody else. So I'll drop their WhatsApp, their information directly to them down in the description. If you tell them that you found them through my video, they'll probably know who you're talking about, especially if you send a dumb picture like this. They will take care of you for sure. I'll also put some other resources down there for Machu Picchu as a whole, and my Cusco map for locations on the Salcantay trek, so you can stay, you can eat, and you can have a good experience for that whole thing. Now, lastly, on this same point, I want to drop a few information bits for my super budget travelers, because I feel you. Now, if you're trying to get the best deal, this is what I would tell you. Number 1, reply to messages in Spanish using Google Translate, WhatsApp, email, whatever messages that you get. Number 2, don't purchase ever, this goes for everybody, ever through TripAdvisor or other travel agencies if you're an extreme budget traveler, because somebody has to run those travel agencies. So they're taking a cut, which makes the price automatically more expensive. Number 3, if you have to purchase your tickets from the US, use a VPN to put you in Peru. So you're using Peruvian servers, so they're not tracking the fact that you're from the US, because you'll get a different result when you search things in Google. Number 4, get as close to the direct connection as you possibly can. If you can get directly to the tour guide, that's perfect. Number 5, use local transit. If you're in Cusco, the best ways to get around is taxi and colectivos. If you're going to Urubamba or Hidroelectrica or Ollantaytambo, you can use colectivos to get out there, and they are way cheaper than taxis and the train. Number 6, speak to people in the streets or in coffee shops to get the best deals. Even just get insider information, because a lot of times at hotels, they'll be putting you in touch with a travel guide, a tour guide that they're connected to, like one of their friends. It's not necessarily the best experience or the best deal. Now, hostels are a little bit better because they understand you're just a budget traveler for the budget side, not so much for the experience side, but if they're getting the cheapest deal, hostels will usually hook you up as well. Now, number 7, bargain. Simple. The cheapest price that they're gonna give you isn't necessarily the cheapest price that you can get. Now, with a little asterisk on this one, we have a currency privilege. If you're from the US, if you're from Europe, you have a huge currency privilege and your money is worth so much more down there. So if you're bargaining over $5 or 20 soles down there, that money means a lot more to them than it does to you. So just let it go. Give them the extra 20 soles if that's what they want. You can just look at it as a way of you giving back to their community. Okay, that's enough on that one. Now, number 13, this is the last one. Don't forget to treat your taste buds. Peru is known as some of the best food in the world. They have some of the most well-known culinary spots in the entire globe, especially in Lima. I know there's like some big, nice, fancy restaurant where you can pay hundreds of dollars for some ridiculous meal. That's cool if you want to experience that. They also have really good street food. Now, saying that, I didn't have any issues with street food as far as my stomach goes or getting sick or anything. I have heard some examples of other people getting sick, but I was there for 2.5 months. I ate a lot of street food and I didn't have any problems. Some of my favorite street food is the paparraena. It's a hard-boiled egg on the inside, which is wrapped in like this mashed potato almost substance that has carrots and onions and veggies and sometimes pork in it. And then they fry it, and they fry it on both sides, and then they lather this sauce on it, and oh my God, it's so good. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you'll find a lot of options in Lima and Cusco. I'll drop some of those in the map down there. The Google map that I was talking about, there's plenty, because I'm vegetarian, there's a lot of vegetarian and vegan places on that map in specific. And don't forget, the fruit is amazing. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll be making a bunch of videos on traveling Peru since I was there for 2.5 months. I want to get as much helpful information out to you as I possibly can. If there's something specific that you want to see or that you're curious about in Peru, leave it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video if you got any value out of it at all. I'm Ryan Fila. You try to go live your dream, and hopefully I'll see you there. See you next time. Peace.